Hi, my name is Alex Carlucci with Gustan Associates. I'm going to talk to you about if you had a foreclosure or a bankruptcy and how the waiting period works. So let's first talk about foreclosure. Let's say your bank's foreclosing on you and you're like, oh, okay, I'm out of here. And you walk out the door and the sheriff is coming the next day. He's going to throw your furniture out. So you get out. So you think the day of your foreclosure was that day. That's not the case. So what happens after that, the sheriff takes the house and then the bank has as much time as it wants to take that loan, that property, that deed, out of your name and put it back in its name before it turns around and sells it to somebody else. Sometimes they've taken up to 2 or 3 years. I've even seen 6 or 7, but usually they get it done within a few months. But if they don't, it really affects how your ability to buy it in the future. So let's say that it's 2 months after that date. That date that they take the deed out of your name, put it in their name, is the date that everybody goes off of for a foreclosure date. So when the FHA loan, you have to be 3 years from that date. Not the date you walked out the door, not the date the sheriff came, but the date the deed was taken on your name. And not a lot of you even know that date. So we can look it up. So give us a call regarding that. Now for VA, it's 2 years from that date. For conventional, it's 7 years from that date. So that date's very important for depending what type of loan you're going with. So remember, conventional, 7 years, FHA 3, VA's 2. Non-QM, we can do the day after that date. You usually get hurt on the rate, but we can do it. Bankruptcies, so let's start with Chapter 13 bankruptcies. You can do a mortgage after you made your 12th payment. So you have to wait to that month where you made that 12th payment, and then you can start the application, and we can do what's called a manual underwrite. So if you file the 13 and you're still in the 13, but you've made 12 payments, you are now eligible for an FHA loan or a VA loan on a manual underwrite. If you have a Chapter 7, you can't get a FHA loan for 2 years after that date, and you can't get a VA loan for 2 years after that date, and you can't get a conventional loan for 4 years after that date. And with the non-QM, we can do it the next day. So remember, FHA and VA are 2 years from discharge. That's the discharge of your bankruptcy, not the date you filed it, but the date it was all discharged in court and thrown out. So Chapter 7 is where you throw all your debt away. Chapter 13 is when you restructure it and make payments on it. So in the 7, it's 2 years for VA, 2 years for FHA, and 4 years from the date that was discharged for conventional. So keep that in mind. In non-QM, we can do it the day after, but you're going to get hurt on the rate. What I recommend you do after you do bankruptcies or even a foreclosure, but reestablish your credit and try to make it good. Let's say you did a BK and you blasted all your credit out. Now you have no credit. Now the creditors are going to come after you and they're going to want to give you credit cards because you can't go BK for a long time. By the rules don't allow you. So they know that you're stuck paying your credit cards for a long time, and they're going to be able to hold you to it. So you can't, if you can't get a credit card the traditional way by just applying with all the credit cards that are coming in the mail and they deny you can go get a secured credit card. A secured credit card is when you go into your bank. Let's say you bank at a big bank. You walk in there and you say, I want a secured credit card. You give them $200 cash, and they give you a $200 credit card. Now that's your cash. That's your own limit. You can't exceed the $200, but you use it, and it turns into a credit card for you, and eventually it becomes a real credit card because they see you're paying on time. But after you go bankrupt, during a 13 or after a 7 or after a 13, do not be late on your credit cards. If you're late within the 2 year period after you discharge from a 7, an underwriter is not going to give you a loan. They're going to say you were given a chance and then you messed it up. And if you want to do a manual underwrite while you're in a 13, you're late on a new credit card, you're going to have some problems too unless you got really serious extenuating circumstances. Same with the 7. If you got extenuating circumstances, then you can probably get around it. But if you don't, do not be late on your reestablished credit after the bankruptcy. And if you do a deed in lieu, it's only 4 years on conventional. So if you do a short sale or a deed in lieu, it reduces that foreclosure date by 3 years. So if you do a foreclosure, regular foreclosure, you have to wait 7 years to do a conventional loan. If you do a deed in lieu or a short sale, it's only a 4 year waiting period. I wanted to put that in there. So those are all the crazy rules. I don't even know how I keep up with it myself, but if you have any more questions, go to gustanshow.com. We got tons of blogs on this at gustancho.com, or call me anytime. I love talking about this stuff. It's 630-915-7550. Thank you.